Hi, what's up?
Hi. Give me the construct or conversation so we can evolve it.
What?
Sorry. Give me the conversation content that you'd like to evolve that we can debate or have or share opinions on.
That you're the guest. You're the one that gets to decide what we talk about.
You're the
My
host. The host
position,
should always
my
the host
positions,
should always, as a host, you are the
my positions
beneficiary.
are, my positions are right here.
Okay.
So you already
I will
know
go
what I
for
think. I don't know what you think. So go ahead.
the world is based on evidence. That's good. I like that.
Yeah, knowledge is based on evidence.
But it's based on evidence to a limited knowledge to this extent.
Yeah, we can't have absolute truth. So knowledge will always be limited to some degree. Yeah.
Well, to most of the degree, to be perfectly honest, because we have lost most of our knowledge throughout the history of time and civilizations
No, we
change
haven't.
continually. Of course, we have.
I don't know what you mean by lost most of our knowledge. So there was probably some guy named Carl who lived 4,000 years ago and nobody knows what color his hair was. So if you mean mundane, meaningless things like that, then yes,
No, I
most
do not
knowledge
at
is
all in
lost.
any way.
But scientifically, mathematically, we know vastly more about the world today than we did yesterday or the day before yesterday or 500 years ago, and especially 1,000 years ago.
but that's predeceived because when the Library of Alexandria went on fire, we lost about 80% of human knowledge because any book
Yeah,
on any ship
knowledge
who
at the
went there for like
yeah,
1,000 years checked in
right.
and their knowledge was
So
checked in.
right. So is the if somebody wrote in a scroll that the sun orbits the earth when it's really the other way around, and then that scroll gets burned down in the Library of Alexandria, have we lost knowledge?
Well, by the
Because
same
that's
token,
not true.
you could base the same principle on the Bible or any construct or content.
So my question was about this scroll. If a scroll that says something that isn't true is lost in a fire, then have we lost knowledge?
Yes, you have, because you've lost the variation to devolve to get to that knowledge, because scientific principles are fluid in general. So you need to have freedom of expression and movement in order to re-establish new opinions and ideologies.
Sure. So we lost some scrolls when the Library of Alexandria burned down. That the scrolls probably purported things that are true, like basic geographic information, like the locations of cities and people and
How
things
can you
like
say
that.
that? You've no
But the
idea or
vast majority,
understanding to base that
don't
upon.
interrupt me.
That's very
The
rude.
but any but Library of Alexandria, if we think about what was considered, there wasn't any scientific knowledge back then, but if we're
Of
very
course they were.
generous, so
Are you
so
serious?
the works of
Humans on development.
don't interrupt me again. So the works of Galen. Galen was the world's first supposed physician. I don't know if he was alive when the Library of Alexandria was around, but Galen was wrong about virtually everything. The astronomers back then thought all kinds of things that were wrong, like what stars and planets are. They were 100% wrong about that. They thought that the
Wow.
sun orbited the Earth instead of the other way around. So that knowledge was burned down. But since then, we've reaccumulated a bunch of true facts, like the fact that Earth goes around the sun rather than the other way around. So your point about, well, yeah, the stuff in the library was burned down, so we lost the way in which we get to the true answers. That obviously isn't true because we know more true facts today than we did at the time the Library of Alexandria was burned
That's
down.
convoluted. You've got no evidence
Convoluted.
base. You've got no evidence base to base your opinion upon that because it's theoretical construct.
Yes, I absolutely do. We have all kinds of works from people who lived back then, and they were wrong about almost everything.
Well, that's like I can't even debate with yourself because there's no construct in your debate. That's just terrible as an understanding of human history.
I've read a lot of history. Do you know who Ptolemy was?
Sorry,
Do you know who Ptolemy was?
you can tell me, elaborate.
Okay. So you're telling me that you can't debate with me because I don't have a construct behind my debate structure. I don't really know what you meant by that. I
Well,
do know my history. I do
you're
know my
basing your
history.
historic
I
construct on one
do.
person, a singular entity. So, based on your singular entity knowledge of history, elaborate your construct.
I don't even understand what you're saying.
Well, that's the whole problem.
No, it's okay. You have the problem. You're making the claim that we used to know more in the past than we do today. That is
Yeah,
objectively not true. We have works from people who lived back then. I have a pretty big library full of texts from people like Galen and Aristotle and Plato and Ptolemy and all kinds of people from back then. And guess what? The stuff in those textbooks is wrong, categorically wrong. Not 100% of it, but most of it is wrong. You
that's modern
do you
ancient
think?
civilization.
Sorry, what?
You've missed the whole construct of development of Africa, Mesopotamia, the development of mega cities who were established before Greek and Roman times. You're missing whole subsets of human development.
What does that have to do with anything? They thought the sun orbited the Earth. That's wrong. Okay.
It was wrong based on our construct and development that we have in scientific principles at the moment.
No,
Mathematics
it's
change, technology
factually
changes.
incorrect. It's not wrong based on something. The sun doesn't go around the Earth. That is false. It's not false based on anything except for the truth.
As a
So I don't know
scientist,
what you
scientific
meant by
principles are
that.
fluid. Scientific principles are always fluid and always should be, because you always need to,
Yeah,
if there's a constructive debate, you need to be fluid with it, just by principle.
yeah, yeah, but the truth still is the truth. And the sun didn't used to orbit the Earth. It doesn't matter what your construct is, the sun doesn't orbit the Earth. It's the other way around.
You're basing complete development on one principle.
What does that mean?
You're basing everything on the ideology about the sun and the solar system, but you're missing lots of constructs that were probably more developmental and had a better understanding that we did at
For
points in time
example,
in the past. Mathematics.
give me one example.
Well, I think the whole mathematical systems were established by in Arabia, and that's what's happened, and that's why we are. That's why we have their own principles today. Even before Greek and Roman times, they were established.
You didn't answer my question. You seemed to elucidate that they knew more than we did that back then than we do now. So I'm just asking you to give me one example.
I'd say technology-based by design principles and moving large constructs over a large space of time. And they didn't think we had the technology to do so, especially over water surfaces with large weights. Some of them, based on the time scale that was achieved, we'd probably struggle in modern day times with our technology and infrastructure.
So are you saying, so it sounds like you're saying we don't know how they built the pyramids or Stonehenge.
It's not
Is
pyramids, I'm
that
just
like,
saying,
is that your example?
I'm basing it more in South America, where they built constructions that were very, well, in fact, to our principles, that took a very long time to make. And even like, see if you go to Machu Picchu, there's already stones there that were there before the Machu Picchu residents came there. So they were like predefined before then, and there's no way to understand how they got there or what infrastructure was. So it must be developed in order to achieve that in a grand scale.
I have absolutely no idea what you're trying to say. So they built megalithic structures. We don't know how they built them. That's an example of something they knew that we don't know. But to then say that they knew more than we do, I mean that's ridiculous. Like there's some 5-year-old kid somewhere that lives in Ohio that has parents, and that 5-year-old kid knows the names of his parents. I'll never know the names of that kid's 5-year-old parents. That 5-year-old doesn't know more than I do.
That's like that principle and ideology is very like obscure and convoluted as a construct.
Obscure and convoluted. You're sitting here telling me that the ancients knew more than we do, but we don't even have the records anymore of
On
what they
certain
know.
principles,
So
well,
we
yes,
don't
because
know what
we
they
have the
knew. So you
evidence
have to
of the
just
physical
assert this. Wow,
buildings.
you're interrupting me again.
We have the evidence of the physical buildings there. There are entities that there exist, and based on our technology, it take a
Yeah,
long time.
I didn't say that human beings didn't exist thousands of years ago. You come here telling me that we have their bones. Like, what the hell are you talking about? We're talking about
No,
specific, like,
I'm
scientific
saying
knowledge.
specifically at that point in time, infrastructure-wise, they were more developed than we are at that point.
You think that the ancient Sumerians or Babylonians or the people living in Machu Picchu or whatever, you think they were architecturally more advanced than we are today?
Environmentally,